What's up? What's up? What's up? Happy Tuesday. Welcome to a new mini episode of Unspoken Truth Podcast. I'm your host, Tanise. What's up? What it do? Um, we here. I'm trying a new setup, so hopefully I can see and read everybody's comments. Today's topic is emotionally unavailable. Okay. Let me say that again for the people in the back who have a hard time hearing. Emotionally unavailable is today's topic, okay? Now, if you've been keeping up with me thus far, I appreciate your support. If this is your first time, welcome, welcome. When I do topics like this on a specific subject, I like to give a definition so that we got a base to work on, okay? Welcome, welcome. So pull out my little handy dandy notebook, okay? And let's give a definition first, okay? Emotionally unavailable. Someone who struggles to connect deeply, express feelings, or be vulnerable in relationships. Boom. Man, I don't think it get no better than that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Cousin, hello. So we're talking today about emotionally unavailable people. Okay. Um, I know that's a lot to take in, but let's jump into it. That's somebody that doesn't know how to express their feelings, be vulnerable in relationships, and just struggle, okay, with connecting on a deep level. So let's get into it. I thought this was going to be a decent thing to discuss today just because I'm noticing a pattern. Now, me personally, I believe everyone has a pattern. What do I mean by that? Something that no matter what season they in their life, they can look back and connect all the dots to the different ways, habits that has created a pattern in your life. Um, me, I'm always using myself as an example because I cannot speak on nobody else but myself. Okay. Um, I think that I kind of grew up with parents that were emotionally checked out. What do I mean by that? I mean, just wasn't present. I'm not saying they didn't love me. I'm not saying they didn't take care of me. I'm saying on an emotional level, just not present. And I think that that caused a series of things to take place in my life that made me be the same. For example, um, while my kids was younger, because now everybody is grown and doing what they need to do for themselves. But when they was growing up, I never cried around my kids. I know that sounds crazy, but it's the truth. If something was going on with me, if I was completely overwhelmed, if life was felt like it was beating me down, I never showed emotion like that to my kids. I would wait till they go to bed. I was the mother that would sit in my car longer. I would wait till they go to school for me to kind of release. Okay. What that did is teach my kids to not be emotionally present because I never showed it to them. I never let them see me cry. I never let them see me hurt. I never let them see me process anything that was going on with me in a negative way. Okay. Whether that would just be life itself, whether that would be the relationships that I had, whether that would be with my siblings, with my parents, I never let them see me process, filter, sift through my feelings. I never even let them see me have emotion. So much so that when they started feeling things or going through things and they would try to talk to me about it, because I never regulated. because I never learned how to deal with my emotions growing up. I couldn't be present for them. I couldn't be supportive to them. I couldn't show up for them in the way that they needed me to. My response to them when they was real young and they was trying to express their feelings is, you too young to have feelings. Oh boy, man. Looking back on that, I can't explain other than me being emotionally tapped out myself. And that's why I didn't have no way of trying to teach, show, be an example of what it's like to regulate and control your emotions. I didn't know how. So I couldn't show that to my kids. I couldn't express myself to them because I hadn't figured out how to do it for myself first. What does that look like? What does that consist of? Your feelings play a major part in what you end up deciding to do. Okay? Because I was emotionally checked out myself, I couldn't be present in the ways that my kids needed me to be, which is to hear them, which is to create a space for them to feel comfortable enough to share. So, because I lacked what I will now call empathy to my own kids, that created a disconnect between us. What do I mean by that? Where my kids would talk to everybody but me. And it used to frustrate the hell out of me. I ain't lying. I mean, I used to be ticked off. I'm frustrated is an understatement. I mean, I used to be furious. It's like, why are you talking to everybody else? Why are you not talking to me? And it took for one of my best friends, may he rest in peace, man, to say to me one day, hey, they don't talk to you because whenever they do try to talk to you, there's this wall there. There's an automatic defense there. You start all the way up here immediately. And here you is trying to figure out why your kids don't talk to you. And I don't think I ever had anybody say that to me before. And I was like, what? And I was still going on and on about what was going on with us at the time. And he was like, you finished? He was like, this is exactly what I'm talking about. He was like, you see how you just went off, blew up. You started out on 1,000,000. How do you think that translates to your kids? And again, I never had anybody say that to me like that before. And so I needed to sit with that. That was a hard pill to swallow. I had to sit with that. I have finally had the answers to why my kids talked to everybody else but their mother. It's like there was no trust there. I hadn't built that with them. As far as them being comfortable to be vulnerable, I absolutely destroyed that by not being an example, by not showing them what regulating your emotions looks like, consists of, by telling them that their feelings weren't valid, by telling them that they was too young to have any feelings about anything, just the things that I was saying to them. It was not giving love. It was not giving support. It was not giving motherly nurturing. It wasn't giving none of that. It was an automatic shutdown. So once I had to sit with that and it registered, now I had work to do. Because not only had I finally got the answer to why my kids were so distant, why my kids was choosing to share how they felt with other people instead of me, but I finally understood what was going on with me. Stuff I had never even thought about, processed, dealt with, tried to understand. It all started making sense. And I was like, hmm. I talk a lot about therapy. I'm not saying that it's for everybody, but it has been working for me. Okay, I've been in therapy for 5 years. Um, I started to open up more. I started to realize some of the things that I had allowed to bottle me up, if that make any sense. Keep me like bottled up all the time, not really being able to express myself. Um, Translated to my kids that perhaps I wasn't as human as I wanted people to believe because I didn't know how to express myself. Um, my way of expressing myself growing up would be with anger, frustration, lashing out, being physical, being violent, um, all the unhealthy things. None of the things that I was doing was going to help me get out of that pattern because I started this conversation out with talking about patterns. Everybody got a pattern. So I started realizing because I was emotionally unavailable to myself, to my kids, to the people around me, that's what I started to attract. Go figure. I've done plenty of episodes on you're not going to attract what you want, you're going to attract who you are. A lot of people refuse to digest that they refuse for that to register or make sense to them, but it is the absolute truth. I started attracting emotionally unavailable men and then started getting upset with myself or them. I couldn't even get upset with myself first. I had to get upset with them because that's what happens when you refuse to have acceptance about the many flaws that all of us may have or you may have. I know all about all the flaws that I got. Do I like them? No. Am I happy with them? No. But I realized there was a pattern. How do you change a pattern? It comes first with awareness. Me having that conversation with my brother that day and him telling me what he saw. Because he was a neutral party in it all. Yes, he had seen me in just about every stage of my life. Before I had kids, while I was raising my kids, after they got a certain age, once they started having kids, he had saw me as a woman in just about every season of my life. From a teenager all the way up till the last few years that he's been deceased. But he's seen me. He's seen me maneuver from a rebellious, hard-headed, angry, misunderstood teenager. He saw that. He knew exactly what that version of me looked like, consist of. Um, we actually worked together during that season of my life. That's how I met him. Okay. He saw me have kids and make poor decisions and choices with who I had my kids with, which in turn made being a mother that much harder because I had chosen Emotionally unavailable men. When I look back at the pattern was always there. I just didn't recognize it till now. Perhaps you can relate to what I'm saying when you start to look over your connections and your relationships. Because that's the season I'm in now, going back and reflecting. I know society and the world tell you, don't do that, don't look back, you're not going that way, but you do. You need to look back. You need to go review a lot of things, especially once you start growing and healing and working on yourself. You need to go back and review a few things. Perhaps ask yourself some really tough questions, because part of being emotionally unavailable is you not being open to being vulnerable. I know that that was a major issue for me. But what I need to be vulnerable for? This is the different things that I would say to myself. What you need to be vulnerable for? For what? Because I had convinced myself over time that I was fine. I got this figured out. I'm in control. But I wasn't. I wasn't in control. And I hadn't been in control for a very long time with how I chose to respond to people and things and issues that were sent to me to destroy me, to distract me, to have me lashing out. It was the way I was looking at it. It was my perspective. Oh, they making me be like this. No, when in all actuality, it needed to be shown to me so that I can realize that it wasn't about nobody else. It was about me. A lot of us is walking around here blaming the world about whatever is going on with us, and we have no accountability for the part we played in it all. And we usually play a huge factor in what's going on. It's not the world. I had such a distorted perspective and view of life that it was always everybody else. Oh, it's their fault. If they wouldn't have been saying and doing, then I wouldn't have had to respond like ridiculous. It makes no sense. What sense does that make? Because the only part that you truly in control of is your response. Because most of the time, things that's being sent your way is to test you. A lot of us is out here praying and asking for certain things to happen in our life, but we don't realize that we got to be tested first. You got to be tested first. In order for the universe and God to really believe that you want what it is that you ask for, you got to be tested first. The biggest test is you regulating your response and your emotions. I refuse to hear or see or believe or understand that as a fact. No, I was like, no, I ain't got to do none of that. And life's still going to be good. No. Because part of you learning how to regulate your emotions consists of you learning, hey, whatever feelings that's coming up for whatever reason, pause. Don't push past those feelings. Pause. Because it's a reason why it's happening. We harbor so much stuff on the inside that we don't realize eventually it's going to make it to the surface. What do I mean by that? It's going to show up somewhere. Maybe you snapping on somebody or whatever. It's going to show up somewhere. Your job as the chief and the captain of you, your life, your body, and everything it consists of, is for you to pause and figure out, whoa, where did that come from? Why I'm acting like that? What's these feelings? What are they rooted in? So that you can figure out how to change the pattern. I used to be a person that was always saying, that's just the way I am. A person gonna have to just take me just the way I am. No, no one has to deal with you crazy, angry, lashing out. You can't nobody talk to you. You don't know how to talk to nobody. Can't nobody tell you nothing. You no, no, there's nothing written nowhere that says that anybody in this world have to deal with you under those circumstances. No, absolutely not. A person's job is to deal with you on whatever level that they decide. If you constantly full of negativity, if you constantly in the midst of drama, if you constantly a Debbie Downer, who wants to be around that? If every time somebody talk to you, you complaining, or you always got a story to tell, or you always want to be the victim in whatever is going on in your life, who wants to be around that? Because I'm going to tell you, 9 times out of 10, most people do not want to be around that. It's going to cause people to be like, because it's an energy with that. It's not just your actions. It's not just what you saying. It's your energy. And people can feel that without you even opening up your mouth. It's your body language. You rolling your neck and your eyes rolling and you talking with your hands and you, no. Something going on up in there. Your job is to crack open your sternum and go up in there. You need to be figuring out what's going on. Because that's for you to fix. That's for you to figure out. That's for you to work on. It ain't got nothing to do with the world. The world is simply just giving you a reflection of what you giving out. I tell people, whatever you do in this life, it's like a boomerang, man. If you constantly issuing out negativity and BS all the time, oh, believe you me, that boomerang coming back, it's going to slap the shit out you. Yep. How do I know? Because that's what happened. That's what happened to me. That's what's going to keep happening to you. If you don't realize that that's the part that you're supposed to be in control of. Not what somebody else doing, not what somebody else saying, not how somebody else feel. No, that's the part that you solely supposed to have control over. Because you really don't have control over nothing else. I know you think you do. I know people convince you sometimes that you do, but no, you don't. We really not in control the way we think we are. And being emotionally unavailable is part of why we struggle to have control with ourselves and practice some type of positive rapport with the people that we talking to and dealing with on a regular basis. That's why the world is in chaos right now. Because instead of everybody going within, everybody projecting and issuing it out. All the negativity, all the demons and battles that they fighting, all of the inner vices that they got, all of the stuff that's going on in their world. That's what you putting out. That's why when you look around, you like, how and why and what is going on? Because we don't realize that the stuff that we project out into this world, it becomes a reality. It's got to have somewhere to go and show up, if that makes any sense. It have to. It can't just die off somewhere. No, you've already brought it up out you and said it out loud. It's in the universe now. You ever wonder how you'll say something negative to yourself and then a whole bunch of negative stuff start happening? I think that was the hardest lesson for me to learn is the way I speak to myself. I don't know about nobody else, but I didn't get taught to say affirmations and speak positive over my life growing up. I didn't know. That wasn't something that was taught to me, poured into me. No, that's something I had to learn as a grown woman. If you want to have positivity in your life, if you want to have joy, if you want to have peace, if you want to have happiness, you that's what you speak to you. That's what you speak over your day, over your life, or over whatever it is you trying to accomplish. That's what you speak over you. So it'll go down. So it'll happen exactly how you saying it's gonna happen. Because the opposite, the flip of the coin of that is when you speak negative, that's exactly what happened. So why would you think it's any different if you change it up and you decide you're gonna be positive instead of negative? It's going to have a positive effect. The same way it has a negative effect when you choose the latter. The moment I realized that I needed to be in control of my emotions, that wasn't nobody coming to fine tune me, save me from myself. The moment that that connection was made in my mind, everything changed. I started to pay more attention to myself, my response to things, people, places, and things that would normally in my past be considered a trigger. Because I hear a lot of people screaming, triggers, triggers, triggers. But triggers are only present because you didn't learn how to regulate and control your emotions. You may not agree with that, but I'm telling you, you only can say that you triggered by something somebody said or did because you have yet to regulate your emotions. Because when you do that, your response not gonna be the same. Stuff that used to you just had to. It was just killing you. You just could not let it be without you commenting or responding in a certain way. Once you learn how to regulate and control your emotions, you don't even care to respond. You realize it's not that important. You ain't got to show up for every invitation. That's what I figured out. I ain't even got to. No, that started me on the path of breaking this pattern that people know me by. Oh, yeah, I know you from this and this and this and that. When people start telling me certain things that they knew me by or associated me with, that was a wake up call right there. Because not all of the stuff that was said to me about me was bad, but it was enough of it for me to be like, I don't want to be remembered by that. I don't even want people to associate me with that. I don't want that to be the thing that somebody remembered me by, especially if it's something negative. Yeah, no. So in the end, we are setting the narrative and the tone for what type of connections we gonna start to have once we get on a mission. Because this is a mission. And it's not gonna be easy. Just like it wasn't easy for you to set all of these patterns into motion, for them to become normal for you. It's gonna be uncomfortable. It's gonna be hard. Because that's the season I'm in right now, is learning how to regulate my nervous system. My nervous system is shocked because I've allowed so much time to go on without me regulating my emotions. Your emotions and your nervous system is go hand in hand, baby. One can't be one way without the other one being the same. Because I'm still struggling and battling with emotionally unavailable habits and traits is why my nervous system is still out of whack. And that's your responsibility. So what I started doing is slowing down. My mama always tell me, slow down. Because I have anxiety and was diagnosed with PTSD. Slow down for a minute. I've lived such a fast-paced life for so long that even saying that to myself out loud feel abnormal. But the best thing that helped me learn is just taking a moment. It's like I'm sitting here in this chair right now, just taking a moment. Take a couple deep breaths. If you need just a reminder, okay, put your hand on your chest. Because sometimes it be so noisy in the world outside of you that you forget that you got your own heartbeat. Put your hand on your chest so you can remind yourself, hey, I'm okay. I'm safe. Whatever feelings is going on, I'm aware. I acknowledge them. But I choose to respond differently. I'm not going to lash out. I'm not going to be angry. I'm not going to yell. I'm not going to scream. I'm going to acknowledge that something is not right with me at this moment. And that it's okay for me to take the necessary time to listen. Because your body is always talking to you. Always. You know that little feeling you get in the pit of your stomach when something is about to go left? That's your body talking to you. But some of us, we have gotten so used to ignoring that voice inside of us. Some people call it your intuition. Some people call it your inner voice. But we've gotten so used to ignoring that we dismiss it. When our body is telling us, hey, you take some time off for a second, a few minutes. And I started doing this years ago, but I realized how much it helped me at least start. Because some people be like, well, I didn't start because I don't know how. I don't know where to start or what to do first. I started just closing myself off in my room, putting on some high frequency music and just sitting with myself. Whatever feelings and emotions and thoughts came up during that time, okay. Because I had allowed myself to suppress for so long, push everything down, just push it down. You don't got to deal with it right now, just keep pushing it down. Well, like anything, eventually you get full. It ain't no more room for you to keep putting stuff in and pushing it down and suppressing it. There's no more room for that. What's gonna happen after you get too full of all the stuff that you're supposed to be getting out, that you've been suppressing and pushing down? What happens? Eventually you're gonna vomit. It's like force feeding yourself. You keep putting stuff in your mouth and swallowing it, and you thinking your stomach don't have a cap. It do. Just like your nervous system, just like your body. It has a cap, a top. Don't ignore that. Don't dismiss that. It's present for a reason. Once you get to that cap, that top, ain't nowhere else for you to go. What you think about to happen with all of this stuff that you've been pushing up under this cap? You gonna blow the top off. It's like blowing the gasket on a car. You gonna blow the top off. And you may not be able to control how it come out. This is why we seeing so much violence in the world. This is why we seeing so many people lashing out and doing stuff that just blows your mind. Because perhaps they've been suppressing and pushing stuff up under this cap. You only gonna be able to do it for so long. I'm a living, breathing example of that. Eventually, you gonna blow a gasket. And what usually happens when you blow that gasket is you end up burning the closest people to you. Because when the pot is full and it's boiling and the top finally blow off, whatever is in the pot is hot. So when it come out, your emotions, you not being able to regulate it, you burning people. And it usually be the people who's closest to us. Perhaps it's your parents, your kids, your friends, your siblings. And most times we don't even stop and think about none of that. We don't acknowledge it. There is not a conversation that we have after the fact. We just act like, oh, it happened, all right. No. You still got to answer for that. You still have to perhaps apologize to the people you done lashed out and acted a fool on. Because I used to do that all the time. It's embarrassing when I look back on it, my behaviors in my past. Embarrassing. But I allow it to stay at just embarrassing. I don't guilt trip myself about it. I realized that I couldn't operate no other way other than that at that moment, in that time. Because I ain't know no better. I didn't know no better. But once you start to learn things, once you start to acknowledge your flaws, stand and walk in your truth, it makes things a whole lot easier. No, you don't get a pass for the things that you did before that, but you start to get a pass with yourself when you start to realize, no, I could have handled that differently. Because this is about winning you over when it's all said and done. I know it's a lot of people pleasing people. I used to be one of them. So this is not a person talking to you that don't know what they talking about. No, this is a person who's absolutely being as vulnerable and transparent as I can be. Okay. You deserve to have balance in your life. You deserve to have peace with your thoughts and your mind. You absolutely deserve joy. It's so many reasons for somebody to be down, for somebody to be upset, for somebody to be sad. It's so many reasons. But I promise, if I challenge you to do the work, man. To do the work. Because all of us needs to be doing the work. It's not for nobody else to do. It's for us to do. And if you got somebody that love you through it, that's such a blessing, man. Because it's so easy for people to turn the other cheek, pretend like they don't know that you're going through something, not be supportive, don't show up for you. It's so many people who do that. So if you got somebody who supports you, show up for you, recognize that you got some things that you need to work on within yourself, and they willing to stick around while you do that, boy, you blessed. You blessed. Because there is a lot of people, including myself, who we just got to walk this path by ourselves. And I'm okay with that. It would sure be easier to have somebody be present, show up for you. But there's no guarantees. There's no guarantees that somebody is going to stick around to deal with you at your worst so they can finally have you in their life at your best. So never take them or that for granted. Because there's a lot of people that don't have that. If you was on your lunch break and you tuned in, tapped in, commented, shared, liked, I appreciate you. Get your butt back to work though. Okay. I hope this episode and conversation helps somebody. Cause that's really all that mattered to me, is for me to help somebody. All while helping myself. Make sure y'all meet me back here Friday. This coming Friday. 8 p.m. Okay. For a new episode of Unspoken Truth Podcast. Until then, I love every last one of y'all. Take care of yourself. And never be afraid to stand and walk and tell your truth, man. It is so liberating to do. It has allowed me to release so much pressure up off me. To each his own. What works for me may not work for you, but at least try it. Okay? I will see y'all back here Friday, 8 p.m. for a new episode of Unspoken Truth Podcast. Until then, I'm your host, Denise. Over and out, man.